Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you join us of this discussion segment of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV. Like we said when we opened studio at 7, we did say that we will be taking us through the federal government's preparation for National Housing and Population Census in 2023. It's actually meant to be held this year, but it has to be shifted. For certain reasons, the director will tell us why they shifted it. But I don't know how much you know about National Housing and Population Census. And that's part of the reason why we brought the Director, Public Affairs in National Population Commission, Dr. Isiaka Aladaya, to shed light on the preparations of the Commission for a credible 2023 population census. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah, good morning, presenter. Good morning, Nigerians.
Yeah, you are the Director of Public Affairs, and we know that in the past few months, we know the budget allocation for holding census next year. Run us through what exactly is National Housing and Population Census.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ojo. The project itself is called National Population and Housing Census.
Okay, it's first, population and
housing census. First, it is a population, but in order to add value, to the usefulness of the population census, so the housing component is added, and the housing component really looks at how Nigerians, how the people live. But when I say that's the persons to be enumerated, in other words, they will be enumerated in household. The population census will also be looking at facilities within the household, whether they have electricity, the water supply, and other infrastructure available, in the household. So that's why it is called National Population and Housing Census. The housing census, the housing component is meant to add value, to the usefulness of the population census for planning purposes.
Okay, so this one that we are planning for 2023, can you walk us through the history of population census in Nigeria?
Well, as you all know, population census in Nigeria has a very long history. The first census was conducted in 1861.
1861. Almost 100 years before we became independent.
Yeah, in the then Lagos colony. Subsequently, censuses were conducted in 1881, 1891, and then 1911. There was no census in 1921 because of the World War I. And then also there was census in 1931, and another one. There was none in 1941 because of the Second World War, and then we had the first modern census. We had the first modern census in 1952-53, and thereafter we had censuses, in 1962-63, and also 1973, 1991, 2000, and the last one was in 2006.
Okay, it's been a long history. We agree. But there are controversies that arise from population. But before we go into the controversies, why does country have to conduct population and housing census? What is the usefulness?
Well, basically, a population census is about the people. Wants to know the living condition of the people and then use it to plan for their improved welfare. When you talk about development, you are also talking about the people, because the people are the agents and beneficiaries of development. So if that is given, it means no development can take place without accurate knowledge of the demography of how many people we have, how we live, the literacy status, the education, the occupational status, and the age and sex characteristics. So basically, we conduct population for development. population census for development.
Population for development. So, are you saying with this, if we are able to conduct census next year, we will not be relying on World Bank, UNICEF, and other multilateral agencies estimates for our population?
Yeah, definitely will not be relying on that, because we have current and reliable demographic set of data that we can use for development. But let me just add this. Even the development partners, that give estimate of population, they use the national census. That's data from the previous census. It's not as if they come into Nigeria and conduct census, or they have some other survey. Like the projection by the World Bank and other multilateral agencies, it was actually based on the 2006 census. And then based on the growth rate, they arrived at a certain figure. But in any case, let me correct this impression that even as it is, we don't really wait for the development partners to tell us what is the population. Because when the last census was conducted, certain characteristics, were generated. We're able to know the population growth rate. So based on that population growth rate, we'll be estimating the population of Nigeria up to now. So most of the development partners, they actually take from the projection made by the, as I speak with you, the Population Commission has the projection of the population. But like all projection, it cannot be accurate. It will only be, it will be near accurate. And for a rapidly changing population, Nigeria, like Nigeria, you cannot continue to rely on projection. So that's why it is important that you do a population census to get the current and accurate population data.
Okay, so now current and accurate population data. Why is it? Excuse me. we are told in elementary school that population census ought to happen every 10 years. You did say that from 1861, when we had the first one in Lagos Colony, and 2006, you said on about 2 occasions population census could not hold because of World War. Was Nigeria in any way affected at that time? But even if we take the modern era, post-independence population census, it has also not been regular. That 10 years time frame has not been kept to. Why is that?
Well, this is a very big question, and it's actually a question beyond, the national population, what the national population can provide answer to. Yes, you are right. The 1991 census census was conducted, and another one did not happen until 15 years later. That's in 2006. And after the 2006, we all expected, there will be another census in 2016. But here we have 2022, 16-year counting, and then the only hope is that we're going to have the census 70 years after. It will have been the wish of the National Population Commission to have the censuses conducted, on this regular basis. In fact, immediately after the 2006 census, machinery was set in motion, for the conduct of the next census in 2016. But, the National Population Commission, of course, is an independent body. But that decision to conduct the census does not ultimately lie, with the National Population Commission. In other words, there are authorities at the higher level who will have to give the go-ahead. They also need to provide the funds. So if the fund and the go-ahead is not given, there is nothing the population. There was nothing the population census. National Population Commission could have done. And in any case, ours is to conduct the census. The authority, they look at the wider picture. Perhaps looking at this wider picture, they felt the time was not right for the census. But we are not in a position to comment on that. But we are also delighted that a bill is under consideration at the National Assembly, to have the censuses conducted on a regular basis. So we are hoping, that this bill will get through, and that the censuses will also be conducted on a regular basis, like the election which we have every 4 years. So wait.
Okay. Now, let's go to the controversies. From history, we saw that most of the previous censuses have been hotly disputed, just like our elections. And people say, oh, there is no way you can have an accurate census. These are just estimates that enumerators who are like poll workers, sometimes they just sit in one bar or beer parlor and just fill the forms. And there is no means of verification whether they actually did the counting. And that in some part of the country, people are counting hands and counting legs without seeing the people that they are counting. All manner of things, which I believe you also must have read in the literature. So, what is going to be different for 2023, and what kind of confidence are you giving Nigerians that it's not going to be business as usual?
Well, thank you very much for this important question. Yes, you are right to say that census results have always been controversial in Nigeria. Well, this is really an unfortunate situation because ordinarily a census should be a technical exercise, which only provide information for planning purpose. But because of the linkage of population figure with political representation and economic and allocation of economic resources, we have this unfortunate situation of the politicization of census. Because of this, census has also been a victim of misinformation, fake news, and all those things that are not true. If you have this kind of sensitive assignment, there's hardly anything you can do to avoid, misinformation and disinformation. Well, I will not be in a position, to talk about what happened and what did not happen in the last census. Of course, it's obvious that some of those insinuations, they are exaggerated and they don't have any scientific basis. But for the 2023 census, we are going to conduct a highly scientific and digital census that even the thought of not seeing people counting them or counting legs or counting cows is totally unimaginable in the kind of census we're going to conduct. Along the line, first of all, we're going to deploy technology on a massive scale. The idea or the image of a census worker that we all have is those one carrying bags, moving from house to house, writing with barrels, and this will not happen. First, we're going to use what we call personal digital assistant. That's what will be the primary means of collecting information. And so the enumerators will be trained, they'll be trained on this and they take information on that. But one thing about the personal digital assistant, the PDAs, that the data, they are being streamed live. As the enumerator is counting, the data is going back to the going back to the main server and it's being watched. And then, so what is it that as the enumeration process is going on, the enumerator is under the radar. So it's not possible for the enumerator to even leave where he's counting and then to go and be filling the form like it used to happen, because the personal digital assistant is geofenced. In other words, for all the PDAs we are going to use, they can only work within the area where they have been configured to work. Not only that, the PDA will also be configured to work within a certain period. In other words, if enumeration is going to start at 8 o'clock and then ends at 5 or 6, it's not possible for the enumerator, to begin to input names in the PDA at odd hours, when malpractices are always done. And we have a lot of checklists that I will not be able to disclose everything, but be rest assured that the kind of census we are conducting is going to be digital, it's going to be transformative, and it is also going to be transparent, that the thought, all those insinuations of the past will have no place on this. And one thing we have also realized that for people to have self-confidence in the census process, they need to be educated on the methodology. for them to understand what we are putting in place. And if they know this, we believe that the confidence, will be enhanced in the process, and they will believe the result that comes out of the process.
Okay, so you are telling us that this is going to be a marked difference from all the previous censuses.
Definitely.
In terms of credibility and all of that. But
Definitely,
some people may challenge and say, if you are relying on digitalization of the census exercise, what about areas that do not have internet services, like those hard-to-reach environments, those very remote areas, rural communities, riverine areas, and all of that? How do you intend to have all this geofencing and PDA and all of that you have been talking about? Given the fact that the entire country is not covered by Generation 4, I think it's G4 network that we are now, although G5 has been licensed, but it's not operational. So how do you intend to cover the hard-to-reach environment with this internet or digitalized census enumeration?
Yeah, thank you. First, we are doing a mapping. We have even done a network mapping of the whole country, and we are satisfied that if any of the 4 networks, the major work, can be assessed, in each of the in virtually every part of the country.
Okay.
Because then we're also using satellite. Okay. And then, so if if we cannot, those areas that we cannot access through the major networks, we're also using satellite. And then, so we are satisfied with that. And that one of the reasons, if you are adopting technology, you need to test and retest to be sure that everything is on course. That's why the trial census was conducted recently. And through the trial census, we deliberately choose areas that are difficult to reach. That was, Tungo local government area in Adamawa State, was selected for the trial census. Also, Brass local government area in Bayelsa and in Mekoafon in Ogun State. The reason for selecting all this, was to see the kind of challenges that come up with implementing projects in hard-to-reach area. And through this, we assess the issue of logistics. We also assess the issue of network availability. So we have really have up-to-date information on the availability. And we have about 4 networks that we are relying on, and we are satisfied, with the coverage of those networks. And don't forget again, the enumerators, even in worst case scenario, when they cannot access any of the major networks, or even maybe the satellite is not working, the data will still be in the PDA. They will be collected, and immediately they move to the nearest place where there is network. The data will be streamed to the server.
Okay, let's look at what you have done so far in preparation for this 2023 census. First, it was supposed to be held in 2022, but later it was shifted. Can you let us into why the shift from 2022 to April 2023? What necessitated that change? Is it that you are not prepared as a commission, or what?
Well, the first question you raised about what we have done about the census, let me just run through.
Okay.
Yeah, we started with enumeration area demarcation. The enumeration area demarcation is the division of the country into small areas that a pair of enumerator can cover within the census period. And this project started as far back as 2013, on incremental basis. So as I speak, we have demarcated 772 local government areas in the country fully. The 2 outstanding local governments are Abadam local government, in Borno State, and also Birnin-Gwari in Kaduna State. And we were stopped because of security issues, But as I speak, we've had the assurance, from the security agent and the respective state government that demarcation can go on in those places, and this is something we can do, within 2 weeks. So that is the first activity. I know the novelty of the enumeration area demarcation is that all the is georeference. All the buildings standing in Nigeria can be seen. You can identify them, and you can also anywhere, and immediately you just open, the dashboard. All the houses can be located. Even this building, as I speak with you, is also in our database, and we know. And if by tomorrow, the data, the EAD was done in such a way that it can be updated. So if there are new buildings springing up, we can also plug them into the frame we have already created. So that's that. After that, we conducted the first and second pretest. The essence of those pretests, were to test the methodology for the census.
Okay, let me pause you, Alan. We have a call, a caller already. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, tell us your name and where you are calling from.
I'm Comrade calling from Abuja.
Comrade.
Tendency calling from Abuja.
Okay, Comrade Tendency, what's your comment or question for Director?
I have listened to him and I heard what he has said. But to be honest, the country is not safe for census to be conducted in the nation. And secondly, I want to find out how will the census be conducted, because I believe it is going to be house by house, and there are many people that don't have home.
Okay. Comrade, we've had your question. Let's take another call. He was talking about security.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello? Okay, you can call us on the number on your screen. We are discussing 2023 National Population and Housing Census. We have with us here Director of Public Affairs, Dr. Isaka Aladaya, who is willing to take your call in case you have any comments or questions for him. That number is on your screen. You can call him. So he was talking about issue of security, that how could we have credible census despite the insecurity that's plaguing Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you are right to say that we have security issue, and but we are convinced that life must continue. Development, governance activity must continue, in as much as economic activities are being undertaken. We cannot afford, to postpone the census indefinitely.
Okay, let me pause you. Another caller. We have another call. It's like we're having. Okay, go on. We go on with the.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. In as much as we have a kind of deteriorating security situation, but I want to say that 95% of Nigerian environment is safe for normal activity, including the conduct of the census. Of course, there are cases of security breaches here and there, but that does not mean that every part of Nigeria is not fit for normal economic activity. People are out doing their chores, carry out various activities, development, governance is taking place. So this should not be really put aside, because and more importantly again, based on the field experience.
Let me pause you. We have another caller. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Please, your name and where you are calling from. Okay, in case you are finding it difficult to reach us, you can send us WhatsApp on that line. We will read your WhatsApp message. But please keep your calls coming. We are discussing National Population and Housing Census, which is scheduled to take place in April of 2023. Yes, Director.
Yes, I said, well, the point I was trying to make is that, yes, there's insecurity. but there are activities are going on. People are living their normal life, and 95% of Nigerian space is still conducive for normal activity, including the conduct of the census. In fact, our experience in the field activities we have carried out, such as the enumeration area demarcation, the first and second pretest, and the trial census, we are convinced that in spite of this insecurity, census can still take place. We carry out the enumeration area demarcation, which was a massive field exercise without recording any casualty. And one other thing you need to recognize about the relationship between census and security is that those who will do the counting, they are indigenous of that place. The enumerators will be sourced from the environment. So it's not as if we are carrying enumerators from one part of the country to the other. And if you are doing that, obviously those people, they know the terrain environment, they are indigenous, and they know how to navigate. So they are not likely to have any security issue, unlike if you are bringing people from outside the country. And again, we are trying to strengthen our partnership with the security agencies, for them to be up and doing. We believe, in the capacity of the security agencies to handle sensitive national assignment like they have always done for elections. Elections have been conducted severally, even in the atmosphere of insecurity. And there was everything worked well. We believe that what the security forces did for the election, they can also do it for the census.
Okay. How many days will this census hold, and when exactly is the date for census in 2023?
Yeah, as regards the exact date, we are not in a position to say it is from the specific day. But we know that it will take place in April, and that will be like one clear month after the election will have been conducted and lost. So after that,
conducted and concluded.
And after that, we'll be in a position, to say, okay, this is the time.
Okay.
And for the census will take place for 5 days.
Okay.
And then, if there is need, to do some mop-up, we can arrange that, but that will not be on a general basis.
Okay.
Because when the election, if the enumeration starts, some will finish earlier, even within 2-3 days. Some enumerators will have concluded their assignment. And also, some will take that 5 days. But if at the end of that 5 days, there are pockets of areas that could not be counted, then we can do mop-up. But generally, the will be for 5 days.
Okay. What should we are familiar with the elections because every 4 years we do elections. So people come with their PVCs to polling unit. But we have another caller. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Tell us your name and where you are calling from, please.
Okay. My name is Amaka Patrick from Abuja.
Okay.
Okay. Please, listen to the conversation online. So I really want to know, this census, is it structure counting or head counting? Then, if it's head counting, I'm more concerned on those like the scavengers that they don't have place to say how do we count them. If it's head, that is just my concern.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Director, I hope you got that.
Yes.
That is it going to be head counting or structure counting? That there are homeless people, those who live under bridge, those who do not have a home, that you can actually go and count them out.
Okay, I think there are two issues, that the questions have raised, which I want to bring up very clear. The first one is that, census is not actually head counting. Because if you say head counting, you just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we also take demographic characteristics. We take information about the household. So it's structural counting, if that's how she wants to include. We call it enumeration, really. Secondly, we have a methodology for counting people who are not in regular household, those who live under the bridges, those who are displaced. There is these are the people we call special population, and we have done a lot of research on where they could be found, how they could be found, and how they can be counted. In fact, the census will be will be preceded by what we call census night, and the essence of the census night really is to look, at those homeless persons who you can always find in the market, under the bridges, and count them before you go to regular house. So the census now will be just the night before the.
Okay, let me
start
pause
of the
you
census.
because people are interested in knowing more about census. Another caller asked, okay, we'll miss that call. But you can go. So there will be census night.
Yeah, there will be census night. It's just the night before the election, and before the census. And the essence really is to camp those people you will not find, in the regular. So, and the choice of that night is because that's when they are not roaming about. That they would be in a stationary place, and you can find them there.
Okay, let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, your name and where you are calling from, please.
My name is Matthew. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, Matthew, what's your comment or question?
Calling for this to find out if they are still doing it.
If they are still doing what?
I want to make an inquiry concerning the registration. How do you apply?
Which registration? We are talking census.
For census.
Yes, census registration. How do one apply?
Okay, you get his question.
National registration.
This is about national population and housing census. It's not NIN registration.
Yeah, if you want to get national identity, national registration, you go to the NIPSI, which is a different organization from the National Population Commission.
So as enumerator.
Okay, if you want to get apply as a numerator, is that what you said?
Exactly.
Okay, is willing to volunteer as an enumerator.
Okay,
so.
it's all right. Yeah, thank you very much. For the main census, we hope to recruit between 1 to 1.5 million Nigerians to serve as enumerators. And a process where this will be done through what we call the e-portal. It will be done electronically. You will apply. And when you apply, you provide all your basic information, including your NIN number. All those ones will be included in your application, and the application will be screened, and then you are good to go if you are found qualified. So the point I'm trying to make is that we are going to advertise for all interested Nigerians to apply, as a enumerator, and the advert should come out in September because it's a very long process. After the advertisement, and then the portal will be open, and let me just add again that the portal will be geo-fenced. What it means that you can only apply in where you are resident to avoid, people in Sokoto applying to be enumerators in Calabar.
Okay, so let me pause you, sir. Good morning. Oh, we lost that call. So go ahead, sir.
So I want to assure him that we are going to recruit Nigerians, and this will be done transparently through the e-recruitment portal, which will be open sometime in September or October, and everybody can put in their necessary information. I know the decision to use the e-portal is to avoid the challenge of managing over 1 million applications manually. This could be very difficult.
Okay, hello, good morning. We have another caller.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah, your name and where you are calling from, please.
I'm Mr. Mekani Yoro, calling from Kershi, Abuja.
Okay, your question or comment?
Yeah, please, I just want a kind of advice. When the exercise is taken off, please, when the exercise is coming, we should be conscious of the security issue. Because people that will be going to all these interior places, they will be afraid to go there alone. So they have to be attached with the security personnel. That's my advice.
Thank you very much.
That's well taken.
That advice is well noted. Thank you. So you are talking about we don't want double counting. Another caller. Sorry, let me pick this. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Emeka. I'm calling from Abuja.
Okay, where in Abuja?
Inside town, Abuja, by Sun City.
Okay, Sun City. So, what's your question or comment?
Yeah, my question is: it the census will make the credible election in Nigeria? Because of many things that was going wrong in our country right from the beginning. That, for my own understanding, when election is coming up, ongoing government, they are.
Oh, we lost that. Hello? Oh, we lost. But he was talking about whether population census will make election more credible. What's the relationship?
Well, definitely, really, because the data.
Sorry, let me pause. Hello, good morning. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. My name is David West.
Yes, David West. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling you from the city of Yanegua this morning.
Oh, Yanegua. Interesting.
Yes.
So, you're receiving us live and clear?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question, comment for the Director of Public Affairs and National Population Commission?
Apparently, it's not really a question, so to say, but it's a contribution I just want to make.
Okay.
Now that they have done the trial census, and I believe the Commission has seen where it has errors and need to do improvement. I'm saying this because Nigerians will not afford to get an incorrect or a failed census come 2023. Because all this while, the non-accurate census in Nigeria too is also a contributing factor to most of these problems we are facing. If the government wants to plan now, it's difficult to get an accurate data. So we must not afford to gamble with this next coming census.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. That is one.
And let us get accurate data for once for Nigeria so that government can plan for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your interest. Thank you for the observations and comments. Keep them coming. This is an opportunity for us to engage this forthcoming National Population and Housing Census. Another caller. Hello, good morning.
I'm calling back, yeah. This is Emeka from Abuja. I'm the one who called when I lost the call.
Okay.
So I'd like to make my comment properly based on what is going on in our country. When our leader is going, he's the one that electing the chairman of election and the INEC and the other people. Now, if someone, the opposite party now come along and say that I'm the one want to be next to your place, you should help me and talk to those people so that let me be there, and whatever you want me to do, I will do it for you. How are we going to know about all those things that you are doing? What of our traditional leader? What is their work to doing about all those things? They are the ones supposed to commit themselves to say, okay, now you are about to go, you don't have any right to say you are going to elect so person to be there, elect this to take care of the election. Let us organize, choose the people that we are going to be there and take care of this election.
Thank you very much, Emeka. Your point is noted. Thank you. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please, your name and where you are calling from. Let's take the questions so you respond together.
Okay, I'm Shegun Adewale calling from Zamfara State.
Okay, Shegun Adewale, where in Zamfara, please? You said? I didn't get that. Gusau, Zamfara State. Okay. So what's your question or comment?
Is that please, yeah. Quality areas.
Okay.
Census.
Yeah, you're talking about insecurity in Zamfara and how census can hold there. Yeah, in areas under the control of bandits, how do you intend to conduct census in those areas? I think that's what Shegun Adewale is saying. Thank you very much. It's noted. Let's allow him time to respond. So a number of questions have come.
Yes.
Yeah, please, very quickly, because we are
those ones I can respond to. Well, the comment from the gentleman in Yenagwa is well noted. Definitely, the Commission cannot afford, to have a fair census. I mean, the chairman and the federal commissioner, they are distinguished Nigerians, who are determined to make a difference, and they are working around the clock, to ensure that we have a credible and transformative census. In fact, from the trial census, we have gotten more information on how we can really deliver the census.
Thank you. So let me take this, and maybe it's going to be our last caller. Yes. Hello. Good morning. And where are you calling us from? Oh, we lost that. Go ahead.
So we're going to. We are working around the clock. The truth was said last week. to review the outcome of the census. And of course, we have identified gaps and areas that need improvement. We are working around the clock to ensure that this is done. As regards the comment on the election, I really did not get the drift.
Yeah, it was
election. But all I know is that census is for planning purposes, not just for election, but for all other socio-economic activities. So, if by the way they find the census useful, either in voter registration, deployment of material, good. But we are not in any way connected to the electoral process.
Let me add this. You had the National Stakeholder Summit recently. What was the whole essence of that summit that was declared open by the president?
Yeah, the essence of the National Stakeholders Summit, was to generate a robust national conversation around the census and forge, and expand. Create a support base. At the workshop, we invited, a whole spectrum of the society, including government officials, traditional institutions, civil society organizations, academia, youth, and women groups. We want them to present the methodology to the census. We presented the methodology for the census today, how the census will be conducted, throughout the presentation, and also invited them, to provide suggestions, inputs, and we also provided clarification. So, like I said, the aim of the Stakeholder Summit was to generate national conversation around the census and solicit the support of stakeholders. This Stakeholder Summit will also be replicated, in all the states of the Federation, so that, the discussion can get to the grassroots.
Mm-hmm. Somebody called and said, what's the role of traditional and religious leader in the forthcoming census?
They have very, very important roles to play in the census. First, they are the custodian of the people's culture and tradition, and they have, established mechanism of mobilizing the people. So the Population Commission will be counting on them, to reach Nigeria, not just the traditional, but also the religious leader. And I need to add that in due course we'll be inaugurating the National Census Publicity Committee, and they'll be composed of these traditional rulers. We're going to have it at the national level, state and local government area. So this will be the platform through which we can assess, the support of the traditional rulers and religious institutions, not just for publicity or creating awareness, but even in some of the communities where enumeration will take place, we need accommodation for the enumerators. Even if you have your money, you cannot get hotels in those areas. So we expect that the traditional institution, will help in providing accommodation and also security. Very, very important. In cases where we have had, threat of security, we've always called on the traditional rulers and their intervention solve problem. Like when the enumeration was taking place, the trial census took place in Karu, area of Nasarawa State. There was an attempt, to kidnap one of the enumerators, and immediately, the PDA, was seized. But immediately we got in touch with the traditional institution. The enumerator was allowed, was released, and the PDA, was also given back, and everything went smoothly. So we're going to rely so much on the traditional institution and the religious leaders.
Okay. You were talking, people were expressing doubt about double counting. If somebody is homeless, he lives under the bridge, and you say, oh, they will be captured for their special population. What if he moves from, maybe we'll say today, decide to go and stay again in Karu or in Kubwa? Would that not amount to double counting? How do you know somebody who has already been previously counted so that you don't count him again? Is there any biometric verification to know that this person has been counted previously?
Well, as regards the special population, they have a pattern. They have ways in which they behave. It's very, very unlikely for somebody staying under the bridge for ages and now for the purpose of census for that person to move into a regular household. That's number one. Number two is that, that's the essence. The census is household based. When you count people, you are counting them in relation to the household. In other words, there will be the head of household and other members of the household. And household is defined, by the people who share common pulse. They have the same feeding arrangement, and they have one recognized head. It can be a man, it can be a woman. So that, and then if somebody is just coming here as a stranger, definitely you will find it difficult to establish that relationship, within that setup of household.
Okay, somebody sent us a WhatsApp message. He said, "Good morning, gentlemen in studio. Will those Fulani elders / militia who migrated from Niger, Chad, and other parts of the world and reside in Nigeria be counted?" I don't know how
Well, a census is the enumeration of all persons living in Nigeria. All persons.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter so far they are on the Nigerian soil. During the enumeration period, they will be counted. But one thing is that if they are not nationals of Nigeria, they will be asked and they will indicate that. So because migration is also one of the indices being captured in the census. So we're going to count whether you call them Fulani elders or Fulani militia or whatever. So far they are in Nigeria during the census, they will be counted.
Now, our last question before we let you go, Director, is what avenue is there to seek redress in the event that maybe certain states or local government feel that they are undercounted? We know that there was a dispute between MPC 2006 result and that of Lagos State, which led to some, I don't know whether it's court case or tribunal. So what's their avenue to seek redress in the event of feeling marginalized?
Yes, there will be avenue, to seek redress in case of disagreement, on the outcome of the census. I'm saying it, based on experience. In 1991, a census tribunal, was established, and this was also done, in 2006. And many states, or some states not satisfied, they went to court. But let me add that, the number of states that were there, they were not so large, really. So, but in any case, the responsibility of establishment and operation of the Census Tribunal is not under the National Population Commission. From past experience, the Attorney General of the Federation or the Chief Justice, would likely appoint members of the tribunals. They can be on zonal basis and then fund their activity. This to ensure that the National Population Commission does not have any influence, on the outcome of the litigation. So I'm sure this will also be done, but it's not the responsibility of the National Population Commission to establish the tribunal. It is that of the judiciary.
Anyway, that's much time will allow us to take on this segment of our discussion. I do hope our viewers have been better enlightened about the forthcoming census. The Director of Public Affairs, MPC, said it's going to be, I've learned new vocabulary, geofenced, georeferenced, PDA, EAD, and all of that, that there will be innovations, digital census is what we are going to have in 2023. We wish you best of luck, and we hope you have a very seamless exercise anytime it eventually holds. We'll be back in a bit to take us through the second and conclusive segment of this discussion. Have a good day.